Welcome to the new MSW Field Instructor Orientation course. Thank you for your commitment to the education of future professional social workers and to the profession of social work. The field experience is often the most impactful aspect of any social worker's education, and we value the time and effort that being a field instructor entails. In this presentation, we will spend some time discussing the distinct roles of field education, talk about what characteristics of field instructors are most valued by interns, identify some best practices for getting an internship off on the right foot, and how to work through any issues that might occur in field. We will also look at our intern placement tracking application that is utilized during placement to track student timesheets, learning agreements, and evaluation. As many of our agency field instructors are located out of the Idaho area, we want to tell you a little bit about the Boise State School of Social Work. Boise State has been offering social work education since 1966, when the BSW program was established. In 1991, BSU began our MSW program. Between 2006 and 2008, we established our satellite programs in northern and central Idaho. In 2016, we launched our online MSW program. We are proud to have received high marks for overall quality and affordability among MSW online programs. Here are just a few of the faces of the MSW online program at Boise State with whom you might interact as an agency field instructor. You can find the entire listing of the Boise State School of Social Work staff on the Boise State School of Social Work website. At the Boise State School of Social Work, we strive to help students gain the skills and practices that embody the core values of the social work profession. Our mission is to prepare graduates for generalist social work practice and advanced practice with individuals and families. The Council on Social Work Education defines field as the signature pedagogy of social work. Field connects the theoretical and conceptual contributions of the classroom with the practical world of the practice setting. The goal of field is to merge theory, skills, and values into competent social work practice. The number of hours required during the student's placement is dependent on their placement year. As you can see, foundation year students are required to complete 400 hours of internship over two consecutive semesters. Students in their second year concentration or advanced placement will complete 600 hours over two consecutive semesters. During each of their placements, students also participate in seminar courses led by their faculty field liaison. It is also often helpful for agency field instructors to have a sense of the courses students may be taking prior and during their field placements. The curriculum maps are located on our BSU School of Social Work website in the Online Program tab. An example is shown here. In the next few slides, we'll delineate the roles of the various members of the field education team. The roles include Field Education Director, Field Coordinator, Faculty Field Liaison, Agency Field Instructor, Agency Task Instructor, and Student. Our Field Director oversees the field education program for the Boise State University BSW and MSW programs, both face-to-face and online. The Field Director also approves all new field agency affiliations and approves any requests for field placements at a student's place of employment. In addition, the Director also provides field coordination for our Boise campus. The Field Coordinator is likely the person who initially reached out to you regarding your interest in hosting a student at your organization and coordinated the completion of the required documents. The Field Coordinators also serve as seminar instructors or field liaisons. In addition to the field coordinators who serve as field liaisons, other faculty also serve in this role. The field liaison is the faculty member who teaches the concurrent seminar courses during field. Usually the field liaison will be your primary point of contact once the internship starts and throughout the placement. You can expect 3 to 4 field visits throughout the semester. Usually these are in the first few weeks of placement, towards the end of the first semester, possibly early in the second semester, and at the end of the second semester. Please communicate early and often about any questions or concerns that you have during the placement with the field liaison. As an agency field instructor, your role is to provide at least 1 hour of scheduled weekly supervision with the student. You will also provide verification of hours and contribute to the learning agreement and semester evaluations. You are truly the face of professional social work to the student in your organization. Students look to their field instructor for coaching, mentoring, emotional support, and timely feedback on their practice. The student will observe how you integrate your professional identity into your practice, and it will shape how students understand their own professional authority and identity. Many students identify the field instructor as the most influential aspect of their education. In some agencies, there may also be a separate task supervisor designation in which the day-to-day oversight of the student is managed by another professional at the agency in conjunction with the agency field instructor. The agency field instructor then provides the weekly scheduled supervision. Usually, the agency field instructor and the task supervisor are the same individual. The student role is, of course, to learn what it means to be a professional social worker in the context of the agency setting. This includes exploring how social work values and ethics and professional behaviors are incorporated into real-world, day-to-day practice. Students should be practicing core social work skills related to rapport building, assessment, appropriate interventions based on sound assessment and evaluation of their work. We want students to learn how to give and receive constructive feedback and experience feedback as a gift from their agency toward their professional growth. Preparing for weekly supervision sessions is a key responsibility of the student. In our field manual, which can be found online on our Boise State University School of Social Work website, under the Fieldwork tab on the left, you can find additional details on addressing issues in field. The straightforward process of problem solving is addressed there as well. If issues occur in the placement, please reach out promptly to the faculty field liaison. We want to make you aware of some resources for agency field instructors that might be helpful during your placement. All of these resources are located online on the Boise State University School of Social Work website under Fieldwork. This is also where you can find copies of sample learning agreements that might be beneficial to you and your student as you formulate learning activities for each of the competencies on the learning agreement. And of course, this is also a good place to access for developing an action plan if concerns arise during the placement. Again, we just want to point out quickly where to find the field documents and the IPT login link on our School of Social Work website. They are indicated by the red arrows on this slide. In 2015, the Council on Social Work Education updated the key competencies for schools of social work to include 9 core competencies and 29 practice behaviors. The learning agreement is a tool for organizing the learning activities so that these competencies are addressed and evaluated. Your students should prepare the bulk of the learning agreement before presenting it to you for additions, corrections, or clarification. Once finalized, the students will submit the learning agreement via IPT. Then you, as the agency field instructor, will sign, then the field liaison will sign. The learning agreement is a good tool to utilize during supervision to track progress throughout the placement. At the end of this first semester and/or the beginning of the second semester, the learning agreement is reviewed and modified to include any new activities the agency and the student have identified as beneficial to add and re-sign by the student, the AFI, and the liaison. Depending on whether your student is in a foundation placement or a concentration or advanced placement, the evaluation process may look different. In foundation placements, you will receive an email to complete an online assessment called the SWEEP or the FAPI. During the concentration year, the evaluation is completed in IPT. Again, the student, AFI, and liaison all participate in the IPT evaluation. Our Intern Placement Tracking System, IPT, is a database application that centralizes information about agencies, field instructors, and students who are in field placements. It houses the electronic version of the student's timesheet, learning agreement, and for concentration year MSW students, their semester evaluations. The student, the AFI, and the faculty liaison all access IPT to track milestones of field. As a field instructor, you will receive an email that is automatically generated by IPT when your field instructor information is entered into IPT. These emails will appear as if they came from one of our faculty or staff. To get to IPT, you go to the BSU School of Social Work website and find the link to IPT on the bottom left-hand side of the website. You will note that on that link is the institutional ID information. If you forget or lose your login information, reach out to the faculty field liaison or field coordinators to reset it. A new temporary username and password will be sent to you. Once logged in, you will see a list of options on the left-hand side of the screen. When you click My Forms, you will see all the documents for your intern. Note here, this intern has several forms that are visible to the agency field instructor. These include the learning contract, his timesheet, and the evaluation form. You will have several forms that you can view. The first is the student's timesheet. Your role is to initial on the right-hand side of the form for each entry. Be sure to save every time you initial, but do not submit or sign, as that will render the form unable to be modified after that time. If you accidentally submit, again, reach out to the field liaison or field coordinator to clear your signature and open the form back up. At the end of the first semester, you will finalize those hours by submitting the timesheet. You can also view the learning agreement and will sign off on the learning agreement once it is finalized in IPT. In addition, please go to your Agency Detail tab on the top of the screen to update any agency information. We want to spend a little time to appreciate the developmental aspects of the internship. Stage 1 is the anticipatory phase for students. They are imagining the work of the field agency, imagining how they are going to practice skills, how they're going to fit into the agency, and how they're going to help. They may be also experiencing some anxiety around their readiness to be in field and concerned about making mistakes. Disillusionment is often the second stage of the placement. Students begin to understand that helping also involves more mundane activities such as documentation, staff meetings, and policies and procedures. They also might be questioning whether they are qualified to be doing such important work, even as an intern. They may be surprised by unexpected emotions related to their field work. They might be frustrated with not being able to have more independence and autonomy. The confrontation stage may manifest itself when the student expresses their needs and wants in the internship and advocates for themselves. The hope is that this stage allows for open communication to re-examine both the students' and the agency's expectations and readiness for more independence and autonomy. Stage 4 is competence. During this stage, students are feeling that they have mastered some skills, experienced some successes, have more independence, and are more integrated into their setting. They are feeling more self-aware and confident. Culmination is the final stage. Students should start working on terminating relationships with clients and staff, wrapping up unfinished projects or tasks, transitioning clients and projects to agency staff or other interns, and begin thinking about their next steps towards professional social work. There can also be some disappointment that they aren't able to see a client or a project through. It's important to take stock of accomplishments and start planning for the next phase. Over the years, research in the field has given us some key behaviors that influence the effectiveness of agency field instructors. Key behaviors students identify in effective AFIs are availability and accessibility to the student, responsiveness to student feelings, demonstrates positive role modeling, clarifies and structures the learning experiences and roles, and provides feedback, monitors, and evaluates student performance and progress, including observing students' work. In addition, the effective field instructor encourages student self-development and self-awareness and challenges student attitudes that are not in harmony with social work values, provides information, suggests solutions, teaches specific skills and techniques, and orients student to the agency, sharing their own experiences. Assists with problem solving and assists students in reframing feelings regarding clients and decision making. Allows appropriate student autonomy for Some best practices that have been identified to set the agency and student up for a positive field experience include activities before the practicum begins, at the beginning of the practicum, and during the ongoing phases of supervision. Before the student arrives at practicum, it is important the field instructor and other relevant staff at the agency agree on what the expectations of the student are, the learning activities the student will be involved in, and how the student should be oriented to the organization. It is also important for the field instructor to review school-specific content, such as the course map, so that you will have a sense of what courses your student has under their belt already versus what they might be taking concurrently or following the placement. You will want to review the sample learning agreement to help formulate the learning activities that your student will engage in and how those will meet the core competencies of the learning experience. Also review the field manual as discussed previously. When your student arrives at their placement, a good orientation to their agency is a great way to start the internship off on the right foot. Orientation includes housekeeping tasks such as where to put your lunch, lock up your personal belongings, restrooms, etc., policies and procedures, safety procedures, applicable laws, duty to report, and performance expectations. Orientation can also include less formal introduction to the culture of the agency and important things to know that may not be in your agency handbook. Take some time to anticipate how the student should spend unstructured or downtime. Should the student talk with others in the agency for potential learning activities, review policies and procedures, literature reviews, update the resource list? There are always lulls in activity during an internship. A conversation up front about expectations during those times can go a long way to prevent frustrations. You may also become aware of something personal or professional that may guide you toward or away from a particular learning activity. For instance, your student may have recently experienced the death of a loved one to cancer. You might adjust their client contact based on that knowledge. It is important to address this with transparency. Weekly focused supervision is a key component to field education. Again, the student is expected to prepare for supervision and to bring topics for discussion to the supervision meeting. Those topics may include tasks that were completed over the last week, how they have integrated theory and practice over the week, any ethical issues or value conflicts that may have arisen, or areas of transference or countertransference, and their strengths and challenges over the week. This is also a time to review the learning agreement and timesheet to ensure that students are meeting milestones. When concerns arise in the placement, we encourage you to address those issues promptly and as close to the time the concerning behavior appeared as possible. The student's faculty field liaison is a great resource to help problem solve issues. If concerns are related to emotional issues, refer the student for counseling or other services. Please document your concerns and what the student and the agency has done to address the concerns. Again, please reach out to the field liaison or field office at the Boise State University School of Social Work early on. We would be remiss if we didn't spend a few minutes talking about professional standards around harassment in the internship. As you are likely aware, Title IX of the Education Amendments of 1972 was enacted to protect people from discrimination in the educational setting. This includes issues around sexual harassment in the internship setting. Sexual harassment is defined as unwelcome conduct of a sexual nature. Sexual harassment includes a range of behaviors from catcalling, staring at body parts, and inappropriate jokes to sexual assault and rape. The sex of the harasser and the person being harassed is completely irrelevant. Unwelcome means that the person being harassed did not request or invite the behavior and regarded the conduct as undesirable or offensive. A failure to complain or flat out say no does not mean the conduct was welcome. In some situations, a person may not be able to complain about unwelcome behaviors because of a power imbalance, such as the field instructor and student relationship, or the person was drinking or scared. It's important that we acknowledge the power differential between the supervisor or employees of an agency and the student who is placed at that agency. We also want to briefly talk about what the NASW Code of Ethics says specifically about field instructors. Social workers who function as educators or field instructors for students should not engage in any dual or multiple relationships with students in which there is the risk of exploitation or potential harm to the student, including dual relationships that may arise while using social networking sites or other electronic media. Social work educators and field instructors are responsible for setting clear, appropriate, and culturally sensitive boundaries. It's important for you to consider how you will place boundaries around interactions with your students. This includes the use of social media. For example, your student may want to friend you or others at your agency on their social media site. How will you handle it? Another situation that can come up is after-work activities that coworkers engage in. Should your students be included? Will there be drinking? Will your coworkers be letting their hair down and decompressing about clients or work situations? What might be the risk of boundary crossings in those scenarios? These are important things to think about and make a plan around for your setting. Include your colleagues in these conversations. This concludes the new agency field instructor orientation. The Boise State University School of Social Work wants to thank you again for your investment of time and energy into the education of future social workers and for your dedication to the social work profession. We couldn't do this without you, and we greatly appreciate your assistance. Thank you so very much.